New stuff. Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if it's your first time. In today's video, I'm reviewing the AFUL Explorer 1DD and 2BA, that's 3 triple driver hybrid IM. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. That's the box for the AFUL Explorer. So we've got a triple driver hybrid configuration, one dynamic driver, two balanced armatures. The price is $119. Now inside the box, you get the IMs, more on those in a moment. You get this sort of zipper carrying case, which is pretty cool. It's kind of got this rubberized surface, which feels really awesome, but we'll see how good it looks and feels after 2 years in Thailand heat. And you get 6 pairs of silicone ear tips in 2 different types. Now the ear tips they're decent enough. They're not great. Of course I can't use them. They're all too small for my ears, but they are decent. But anyway, let's get on to the IMs. We'll look at the shells first and then we'll have a look at the cable. These shells are fabulous. They're fantastic. First of all, I think, in my opinion, they are beautiful. So we've got this nice dark blue gradient on the faceplate with a sort of a glittery effect. AFUL and Explorer there. And the shells themselves are sort of a really dark blue, navy blue, opaque, 3D printed shells. So a couple of interesting things about the shells. First of all, there's no protective mesh on the nozzles, which is kind of a rarity in modern chi-fi. Yeah, that's quite weird, but we do have we got 2 tubes and you can see one of the balanced armatures down there. Anyway, these shells, whoopsie, nearly lost one. These shells are actually quite small. They fit in my ears beautifully. They are very, very comfortable to wear. The only thing is these nozzles do not have any kind of a lip on them. So if you don't have tips with a very sort of tight core, me using my own tips of course, they can slide off quite easily. Now I picked up these ear tips this morning on my way to work, so I've been fishing these ear tips out of my ears all day. That's something just to keep in mind. Alright, let's have a look at this cable, and it's pretty decent. It is a twisted silver plated copper cable with metal components and plastic 2-pin connector housings. It's also got a chin slider. Look, there's it's a pretty nice cable. It feels really robust. It handles fairly well. It's not the most attractive thing. It's kind of got this brownish off-white color, but yeah, I think for the price it's pretty decent cable. But let's get back to the IMs because we want to talk about how these sound. And I would say these have a warm, laid-back kind of sound signature with a really lovely tone. These are tuned for musicality, first and foremost, with a focus on organic naturalness, so you get a really natural tone throughout. This tone is facilitated largely by a somewhat soft treble and a rich but restrained bass. Now, this kind of tuning is often referred to as safe in audiophile terms, and it's a kind of sound signature basically that you can listen to for hours at a time without feeling fatigued. Graph. Let's talk about the bass, and the bass is tastefully enhanced. It is slightly north above neutral, but it's not a huge bass, but it does spread warmth throughout the sound spectrum. It is a full-bodied bass. It's got good control and it's got a natural but a swift decay. And while it's not the crispest bass, it's rich and natural in tone. And yeah, the bass has got a sort of a nice pleasing presence with decent extension, but it's probably not going to satisfy bass heads or people looking for that sort of deep, visceral, physical impact. It's not that kind of bass. Similarly, the mid bass has a slightly blunted or rounded attack, but it does have ample body, punch, and presence. So overall, In technical terms, it's not a fantastic bass, but it's just a very natural sounding bass, which fits really nicely, cohesively with the mids and the treble to create this sort of organic tone. And then for the mid-range, Explorer's mid-range, it's pretty silky smooth really, but it's not oversaturated, and that's thanks to the speed of the balanced armature drivers and also the treble extension. There is an underlying warmth, probably, carried over from the bass, which gives vocals and instruments a nice organic richness, but without sounding muddy. Male vocals have good size and density with a fairly forward presentation, which adds intimacy and engagement. And female vocals are nice and sweet and kind of sultry, but they somewhat lack vibrancy. They're not really punchy in the upper mid-range. It's a slightly attenuated upper mid-range. It's what I would call romanticized, which is tuned for emotion and naturalness and once again tone rather than absolute clarity. And finally for the treble. The treble it's a well-balanced mixture of crispness and warmth. And again, I keep saying this, but it's all about the tone here rather than precision. It's a recurring theme with the Explorer's sound signature, but despite the treble's softer edges, the treble kind of sits forward in the mix, and it's pretty much in line with the mid-range in terms of forwardness. And as a result of the treble's moderate definition, the treble is not great at detail retrieval. I would say the detail retrieval here it's kind of on par, but there's nothing exceptional or special about it. Perhaps even slightly lower than average. However, the treble is still present enough to create, a bit of an airy sensation and add clarity, albeit with limited sparkle. So it's not a very sparkly treble, but it is quite forward in the mix, and it does create some airiness. Now, in terms of soundstage and technicalities, the soundstage again is fairly average in dimensions. It's not particularly wide or deep. However, its instrument separation and the overall resolution are pretty impressive for an IEM in this price range. And the Explorer, it holds up pretty well under pressure. Like, you can push it pretty hard without showing any signs of discernible distortion. So overall, look, the quality of the shells, the dampening inside of the acoustic chamber, and the quality of the drivers is all pretty good. Now I'm just going to do one quick comparison here, and that's with the Starfield 2, because they're roughly the same price and they both have a kind of a galaxy theme going on. But the Starfield 2 has got all metal shells for a start. Really beautiful, like, take your pick. They are both absolutely gorgeous. But, the Starfield 2, bit of a mixed reaction from listeners, fans, and reviewers alike. We've got that VDSF kind of tuning, that virtual diffuse sound field that Moondrop prefers, which basically has a reasonably lean bass and a boosted upper mid-range. So they love to sort of get the utmost clarity out of their IEMs, and sometimes it sounds a bit forced, and as a result, usually we get a sort of attenuated treble, kind of like a Harman treble tuning, which falls off fairly quickly. So not the most airiest sound, not the most precise or detailed or accurate treble, but kind of exciting. Get a bit of a wow factor there because you get that clarity and you're like, oh my gosh. But in terms of bass, they're kind of similar there. In the mid-range, I would say that the Explorer, the AFUL Explorer, has just got slightly better instrument separation. It's a bit more resolving overall, whereas the Starfield, look, I'm not really a big fan of the Starfield sound. I was a little disappointed, which I kind of felt about the Aria 2 as well, but that's neither here nor there. That's sort of irrelevant for this review. But yeah, really, the AFUL Explorer kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting it. I didn't follow its progress or didn't get into the hype. I don't sort of get on the social media much lately, but these showed up and I was pretty impressed. I would say actually that these are up there with the best that you can get in that entry level, around $150 range. So I think Hi-Fi Go and AFUL have done a fantastic job here. The shells are beautiful. They're nice and small, which is great for people with smaller ears. They don't really do anything wrong as far as the sound goes, the audio quality. They do pretty much everything well. However, I would like to see a bit of a lip on the nozzles, just so you have more options when it comes to tip rolling. But apart from that, you really can't complain. I would say if you're shopping around that $100 mark, definitely consider the Explorer. Probably in the top 3 right now, just off the top of my head without thinking about it too much. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Fam audiophile style. If you would like to support the channel, check out my Patreon link down below. That would be much appreciated. If you are new here, consider hitting that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.